Thank you so much. It's such an honor to be here, my second trip to the UAE. And I want to congratulate you on the launching of the Energy Star program. We in the US, where I come, have a long history with our own Energy Star program. And it has saved billions of dollars of energy and advanced the productivity of these buildings and also lowered our carbon footprint. The impact, obviously, of our buildings on this earth is enormous. If you wanted to be an environmentalist, you would start and end with buildings. That is part of our goal. Of course, we'd like to endure, and it's very exciting to celebrate your 40th anniversary, and of course, we would like to celebrate the next 40 and the 400th for our children. But this savings of energy, this ecological footprint reduction is also linked to the economy because energy is costly and we cannot afford the footprint of the past. And so Energy Star is extremely important in mitigating not only climate change, but saving money. It's integral with our economy. And clearly, at the root of the program is the heating up of Earth. And 2010 was the hottest year ever as we approached 394 particles per million. And we, fortunately, with programs that are innovative like this, are waking up. At essence, in the savings of energy and the productivity, really, of humanity, our computers and high-tech methodologies, or ICT, information, communication, and technologies, are enabling a better life for us, whether it's travel or telecommunications, working from home, as well as monitoring and verifying the data for our buildings and our energy and smart grids. There's an incredible nonprofit study called Smart 2020 that has shown this ICT and information technology and the benefits. Clearly, that industry alone is growing globally with data centers and this cloud technology. Everything's beamed to a cloud. And that is incredibly efficient, but it does have an energy cost. But even greater, those technologies through the telecoms can be harnessed to make our buildings efficient and to save us money as we save energy. And this SMART report predicts that by 2020, like your Energy Star program, you can save a minimum of 15%, which is 600 billion euros, almost $1 trillion, through harnessing technologies to save money. In the report are many key findings, not only that the Earth needs to reduce its energy because we're growing, as you see from 2002 to 2020, we go to almost 52 gigatons of CO2 equivalent, which we cannot handle. We need to reduce by 20 gigatons per year and enable these efficient technologies to save us money, to save us energy, to lessen the carbon, and other benefits like health and productivity in the areas of less materials because we don't have to transport ourselves. Smart motors through variable speed drives and efficient use so the motor's working when we need it and it's not when we don't need it. Smart logistics and how to efficiently use our transportation systems, another major area of carbon footprint. And then buildings where this Energy Star program resides, that's 70% of the electricity use. And that's where we have to get, including smart grids. There are many enabling effects that the technologies can use to achieve our Energy Star goals. And these are some of the areas in industry with smart motors, smart logistics with transportation optimization, so that you don't just transport goods one way in these trucks and come back empty, but there are two-way transports and efficient hybrid cars and even electric vehicles One of the new fundings that is in the US has batteries that are charged and swapped in the cars, creating cars of service, and even owners who don't own cars, but they car share. These are all efficient, smart logistics. And in buildings and grids, there are also deployment of efficient technologies. I come from the building industry, and I've seen us reduce energy significantly through the LEED system and also Energy Star in the US, which is being used now by 200,000 buildings. And that was the full goal here. And we have already touched those buildings, and they're averaging beyond a 30% reduction. These smart technologies can sit on top of the building management systems and can also give buildings that don't have management systems important sensor technology so we can understand the draw from the lights and the HVAC, which is extensive here for air conditioning. But also those things plugged into the wall, plug loads. We need to be able to control every outlet, every piece of equipment, capture the data, and run it efficiently for this climate, for the demand, for the occupancy. These buildings need to know who's in the building and when and what are they doing. Do they need lighting? Do they need heating? And tune them so they're super efficient. And that's what can be achieved in these new technologies to harness those savings that we need, whether it's in the HVAC or the lighting. And even in lighting, not only can we have efficient LEDs and other technologies, but we can have DC power, which saves energy that doesn't need electricians. We can have sensors on every single light that know when the sun's out, when it's not, when the blinds are open or closed, where the people are. And all that can be harnessed towards a minimum of 30% savings in concert with the HVAC. If there's less lighting, there's less heat. We can have chromatic windows that are also tied to it that go dark when the southern and western sun are heating up our buildings. The grids themselves become efficient as well. Moving the electrons has enormous waste, and so we need to have smart grids and demand-side management for peak power as well. We can conserve during these peak periods through powering down these buildings, the plug loads, the lighting, and being efficient. And many savings can be used towards these energy efficiency goals through the information technologies and efficient command centers. What we're talking about is transformation, not just of the UAE, but of this earth. We're talking about harnessing our intelligence in the systems that we're making, the buildings we're designing, but having it work almost as an intelligent computer. Really, buildings are there for a purpose, for us to live and to work, and we need to achieve those goals, but with the minimal carbon and ecological footprint. And we can be much smarter and not have waste. The power plants of the future are our buildings, because we can save that 30% and move beyond, I believe, to 50% savings before we look at additional production of power. The power plants of the future is that wasted energy inside. And we can do that through standards, such as Energy Star, which is really a standard, doing auditing and base casing and third-party review, going from the 1 star to the 5. We can celebrate success when you get towards higher levels. We need to have it continuously monitored. Today's energy draw is not necessarily tomorrow's. It's all about the data. We need to collect the data on a real-time basis and tune these buildings so they are smart to save the energy. We can account for what we're doing as well and be responsible, and use software tools to understand that, but also this idea of fault detections and continuous commissioning. So immediately it's telling us when there are problems and what to do, and then deploying the help. And we can always rethink. There are always better solutions and new products, and new inventions, whether it's in solar or fuel cells or thermal technologies or better insulations. And all of that can come into these buildings that are tuned. And in the end, we can get the transformation we want. For me, that's triple bottom line transformation. Economic, of course. We're not asking for returns on investment below market returns. That's at the table because that's the essence of our economy. But through that, we can also create ecological transformation of that lessened footprint, lower particles per million, so that we aren't increasing every year towards that mark of 450, which would be disaster. And in the end, we're also creating better communities. That's the third leg of the triple bottom line. More efficient, productive, and healthy buildings as well. Within the US, we're at about 51% for our buildings, but it's $600 billion in energy, more than cars and industry. Our business as usual was not acceptable, so through our climate action plans, like your Energy Star plan, we're turning the ship. I've had the privilege of playing with the US Green Building Council, which I founded in 1992, which then led to my founding of the World GBC in '98. And now we have the Emirates GBC, our friends at the table. We have LEED, you have Estidama. They're both great systems that are also standards. And it's wonderful to be working together. Within LEED, we've touched 112,000 buildings in all these sectors that your Energy Star touches. We register 1.4 million square feet a day. This is after 20 years of effort. All of our governmental agencies are requiring Energy Star and LEED in their buildings, some of them in the private sector. They offer incentives, very important to make programs like this happen, whether they're extra density in the buildings, faster building permits, lower financing, even abatements in real estate taxes. Local, state, federal agencies are demanding this in their own space, in the private sector. We, in our Energy Star system, has 100 points. 100 points is equivalent to probably more than 5 stars, but the best score you could get. And we average in the LEED buildings 89 out of 100. I don't know exactly how many stars that would be, but I would venture to say it's at least 3 to 4. So it can be done. We have GBIG, the Green Building Information Gateway, that will launch to be a digital dashboard to understand the real-time performance in lighting, HVAC, plug loads, water, transport, waste, health, and productivity. We are creating portfolio systems tied to the LEED building system, so it's not one building at a time. My firm invented P3, the Portfolio Partners Program, so that if you own 6,000 buildings, every building is measuring its energy, its water, its waste. They don't all have to certify in this program. They just have to measure, goal set, go on the journey of continuous improvement, report, and then celebrate success. That's the key. And then you step up towards third-party certification. This is something that could be offered to the Energy Star program on a portfolio basis. Dashboards critical, and measuring against your own base case in your portfolio and then against the other similar buildings. Hospitals measured against hospitals, housing against housing, labs against laboratories. All that pulls through into a real-time dashboard per building, per portfolio, on the web, through the cloud, so everybody understands how it's performing. And the impact of savings is enormous, whether it's carbon, water, waste, energy. In our marketplace, the CoStar report is showing that in the private sector, the LEED buildings are getting higher rents, so the landlords are happy. They're keeping those tenants because they're comfortable. The conditioning and productivity is high. The daylight is penetrating to the core of the building. The expenses are lower because of lower energy. All that equates to a higher net income. The assessors of value appraise these as A or A+ buildings if they're 5-star instead of B if they don't qualify. And at the end of the day, when the owner sells it, they make more money. The return on the investment is higher. In fact, they can use less equity, get higher financing at lower rates, a higher net income, and a higher internal rate of return. As a developer, that is exciting. The cost of the green is less than 2%, even for LEED Platinum, because it's education and training to lower the cost. After you've done one, it's easier. After you've institutionalized how to do it, it's easier. This will be the same for Energy Star. And the net present value of all the savings from energy, operations and maintenance, and health and productivity is significant. It rolls through schools with better test scores, into retail stores if they have daylight, that Walmart has shown, with higher increased sales where there is daylight. Factories have increased flows, and we've seen that at Herman Miller and Interface factories. And in offices, workers are more efficient in healthy, productive, daylit, energy-tuned buildings. I play also in the area of green building technologies, and it's playing with these fuel cells and the chromatic windows that can roll through our buildings in many areas. And these venture capitalists are investing in smart grids, in dashboards, all to achieve Energy Star at a lower cost with a higher return on investment. Today I had the privilege of visiting Masdar City and sitting down with Masdar Capital and talking about their clean tech investments and what we're seeing in the US for green build tech, which is a subset of clean tech in all of these areas. And they are investing billions of dollars, whether it's Masdar or Vinod Khosla, who's the co-founder of Sun Computer, or Kleiner Perkins. Each one of these players has $1 billion fund, and a lot of this is going into the green building technologies. This is Khoshla's portfolio, and you'll see these changing our buildings. And there are hundreds of firms investing, and I encourage you to look at these new technologies to achieve the future. Here's some of the statistics on our Energy Star and the metric tons that we have achieved in our history over the past 20 years. And sustainability is a progression. We start by limiting the damage. Code, which is required, is the minimal. Below a code, you're breaking the law. And that's where we start. And how much percent will you do better than code? 10%, 20%, 30%. The next level of the green dream is you could be carbon neutral. You're a net generator through solar and wind. So those renewables equal your electricity and gas consumption. The earth demands greater at some point to restore and replenish, whether it's water to our aquifers or energy back to the grid through smart meters and net metering. And ultimately, we can get to regeneration. And that's the dream. In my dream, the billionaires of the future are green. They're 5-star buildings. Those buildings get higher rents. They sell for higher per square meter prices. The entrepreneurs inventing the dashboards and the fuel cells and even the gadget I can put into the sea and drink it for potable water, those are the billionaires of the future. They will surf the internet highway and high technologies, and it will be integrated into our buildings, and the buildings will be rated and valued on their ecological performance. And that will all link to this economy. It will be a nega footprint economy to create the wealth of the future. Because as we hit 7 billion people, as we hit 400 particles per million, as we are running out of water, as we cannot pave highways to even move hybrids, this is a future that has to merge the economy with ecological footprint, with wealth, with value creation, and with purpose for humanity. So what an honor to welcome a beautiful program. I can't wait to celebrate the success and the merging of it with this high technology. And in the end, we'll have better buildings, less energy, less footprint, and we'll have a legacy of sustainability that we're proud of. Thank you so much.